Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Financial Planning Explained. I'm your host, Mike Menninger, certified financial planner, owner and founder of Menninger and Associates Financial Planning. My guest today is Nick Lensander, who's the founder of Link Media, and I've known Nick for a few years now, and what he does is really helps the small businesses get exposure, which, as it pertains to financial planning, well, obviously, if you want to make money, it always helps to have better exposure. And he knows, probably forgot more than I know, because just in talking to him, I'm like, holy cow. So with no further ado, Nick, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. Tell me what you do, because as you tell, I'm going to be asking tons of questions. You're going to make it easy for me to ask questions, because I have no idea half of what you're saying, but have at it.
Exactly. Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So basically, I do everything in the realm of digital media. So that's from digital strategy, the wide world of social media now.
All right, digital media. Stop right there.
Yep.
When you say digital, meaning, what's digital media?
Digital media is basically anything that's on a computer. So
okay.
Any type of media form, video, photo, written content, and then all of that gets distributed to all the different platforms of today. Social media is your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. So those are the differences between that. But digital media is just a little more broader term, because it kind of all encompasses everything. Social media is a big term nowadays, and if you don't know about it, you should know about it. But digital media is just kind of a bigger picture idea, brings a lot of branding and different types of content and creative into play.
So social media is a subset of digital media?
Correct. Social media originally was a slang term for the platforms that people communicate
like Facebook.
on. Correct.
Yeah, because people talk to each other and, catching up and photos and stuff like that. But Facebook has actually come a long way since then.
It's come a very long way, and it's matured, and it's interesting to watch if you see a platform in its early days, and as it matures, the people that use it, the audience, how it changes. It's very real, and you can really tell, especially a lot of new platforms that are coming up that we'll get to at some point. It's really interesting to watch.
Yeah, I would say so. Well, I know with our business, we're using stuff I don't even know what the heck I'm using. I got a call from somebody from Ohio. Hey, I saw your podcast. I'm like, gee, I didn't even know I was on a podcast. But that's why I have someone who does what you do on my staff. And you probably do way more, because you were saying terms I've never heard before. But the fact of the matter is that we use LinkedIn now to show our shows and to do a lot of different things. So here are opportunities that I assume you work with businesses for doing just that, correct?
Absolutely. And LinkedIn is one of the best platforms right now for business, of course, along with a few other platforms like TikTok, which we can touch on later. Clubhouse is a up-and-coming audio platform, as audio is getting bigger with podcasts becoming a really big thing.
Clubhouse?
Clubhouse, yeah, It's called Clubhouse. We can touch on that.
I was going to say, I never heard of it before.
We can touch on that later, and I can explain that a little bit. But LinkedIn, number one, the organic reach is kind of like the early days of Facebook. So if you remember Facebook, early 2010, 2012, 2015, kind of how the organic reach was really, really high. If you go on your LinkedIn page, you'll notice that you'll scroll down the feed, and there'll be posts from 2 weeks ago that'll show up, which is kind of wild to think about, because...
Yeah, why does that? Wouldn't it be the most recent newsfeed?
It is, but it's since... I can't remember when Facebook or Instagram took away the chronological newsfeed, but since then it hasn't been completely chronological. It's algorithm-based now.
What type of algorithms? Based on the things that I look at?
Correct. All the feedback that the platform gets from who you are, what you like, what you do, your mannerisms, all the data that it collects, it puts that into showing you what it thinks that you will like best, and the things that it thinks you will engage with best. And different platforms have those different algorithms. So as an example of a platform that's basically almost all organic reach is TikTok, and that's the reason why it's so viral. So the algorithm
organic reach. Can you define that, please?
Organic reach is posting something and not having to pay for people to see it.
Okay.
So you just put up a post on your account and a bunch of people will see it without having to pay any money. Now that's free advertising.
Then the organic reach would be like on my Facebook, my friends. And on LinkedIn, it's my followers. Is followers? Is that
Followers, connections.
Connections, that's right.
But LinkedIn, people also see things based upon your mutual connections and
Right.
what they follow, what they like. So it's a little bit more layered than that. But that's as a basis, that's what it is. But that's why organic reach is so big because, again, it's free marketing dollars. I mean, marketers, we ruin every platform eventually. But LinkedIn and TikTok are the two platforms that have just crazy
TikTok,
organic
really?
reach.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I just think of TikTok. I have two things in my head about TikTok. They have some pretty funny content.
True.
Okay, they're either videos or they're just, it was funny. Maybe it was my sick, crazy sense of humor. But then the second thing is, I heard it was China owned and boycott TikTok, but then I'm not sure if was it Microsoft or somebody was supposed to buy them?
Oracle bought it.
Oracle, was that the one that Microsoft was going to buy?
Yep.
Okay, so that I am right. So Oracle did buy it and basically severed the tie to China?
Correct. They made a U.S. They just cut off the U.S. Operations of it
Right,
and
okay.
separated it completely.
So that's interesting. How long? That's what, about a year or two ago, maybe?
Yeah, that was maybe a little bit less than a year ago. But the reason why TikTok changed the game, and it was originally called Musical.ly, which was a platform. It basically allows music as the background to any type of video, and that was the basis of the platform, and that's how it grew. And the way they use their algorithm, engagement is a huge thing on there. So if you rewatch a video, that is massive. It's bigger than a like or shares are huge also. There's different engagement metrics like comments on
Really?
Instagram or things like that. So TikToks, they have a For You page. So basically you'll just scroll and you'll see videos from anybody on the platform. And the reason why TikTok is so amazing in terms of free organic reach, you could put up a video with 0 followers and have it reach 5 million people. And this is how one video has changed multiple people's lives. If any of you have seen the ocean spray guy that was skateboarding down the highway, drinking ocean spray, that was the best commercial that Ocean Spray had ever run, and they didn't have to pay for it.
Huh.
And that made the dude's life, that one video.
Now, did Ocean Spray intentionally do that, or the dude was just doing
Nope.
it, and he happened to be drinking an Ocean Spray?
Correct. Some of it's serendipity and a lot of different moments happening at one time. But when all that comes together on the platform, that's how the viral nature of a platform like TikTok can really bring that to life. And it changed this dude's life. I think the video was seen 100 million times or something like that.
So does that mean that guy made money?
Oh, he made millions.
How come he wasn't wearing one of my shirts?
And you know, some of that comes with brand deals and sponsor deals, but when you have a following on any platform, Facebook, Instagram's big, influencer territory, TikTok, if anyone follows TikTok, you know, the D'Amelio sisters, Addison Rae, all these kind of young kids on TikTok, which is how TikTok originally started. But again, this is how all the platforms originally start. Facebook, if you remember back in the day, was for young people and it was for college kids. That's what it was made for.
It was Harvard, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Harvard Connect, and that's what it was made for originally. And everyone in the day is like, oh, Facebook isn't for me. It isn't for adults. This and that. And now only old people are on Facebook. So things change drastically over time.
People.
Well, okay. I mean, these are just kind of some of the things you hear. But TikTok, from around the same premise, everyone's, oh, it's for kids, it's for dances and this and that. I'm never going to be on TikTok. And then over the course of the pandemic, the usage for TikTok, even a year before the pandemic, but it skyrocketed, and people we're really in the wild, wild west of what TikTok is, and that is because the platform isn't mature enough to really know what it is itself. They've done a really good job of doubling down on their strengths, and really utilizing the musical aspect of things to become a background of all the amazing things in life.
Well, that's interesting, and I'm going to go back to that ocean spray guy.
Yep.
Because I'm thinking YouTube, and if you have X number of views on YouTube, YouTube actually pays you. Who paid him? Was it Ocean Spray or TikTok?
So there's a couple different facets to that. So first up, Ocean Spray reached out to the guy immediately, basically bought him a new truck. The owner showed up with a new truck to him, gave him this huge package, and then they eventually sponsored him because of, he amassed, I think, 3 million followers in a very short period of time. Or he has more now on TikTok. So Ocean Spray, he now works with other sponsors and brands that pay him, and probably a solid amount of money when you have millions of people watching you, obviously.
Sure.
YouTube is a great platform, and I'm really, really bullish on YouTube. I have been for a long time. It's still a great platform, but TikTok also made a creator fund. So essentially, based upon a number of views, kind of like YouTube, that their creator fund will pay money as well, based upon performance metrics.
What's their business model? What is? So I know nothing about TikTok.
It's the same as all the other social media platforms, as advertising.
Advertising, and so they had advertising, and the more people they get to watch and everything else, hopefully creates. Okay, I get it.
Correct. Yeah.
I just never saw TikTok. Now you're saying that TikTok is now becoming a good tool for a business to advertise?
Absolutely.
In what way?
Because it's free organic reach. Now, if you don't think it's your target audience, you are wrong. Because if someone's kid sees you brand yourself and establish yourself as the guy to go to for financial planning, and you're funny and you do this and that and you play on all your strengths, then if you really put out some really good piece of content that takes off, they might tell your parents about you. They might want to check you out on your website, and there's a lot of different things that can't be tracked in terms of brand awareness. That is an amazing place. So even without paying for an ad on TikTok, just do it organically. It is free organic reach. It is free brand awareness. And that's why it's such a great tool, even though you may not think it's in your target market isn't there. TikTok was the #1 downloaded app, I'm pretty sure, for the last 3 years. And I believe they have 500 million monthly users. It's massive. So it's up there with all the other platforms.
So what is the target? Is the target audience the younger generation?
It originally was, again, teenagers were the spark plug to the app and why it took off so rapidly. But it developed to, young adults and even adults. You see a lot of adults and businesses on there now, smart businesses, because they see it's free organic reach. This is the same thing as LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is a business platform, so you think it's more relatable to business. But again, LinkedIn's new content feed is a Wild West also. Sometimes you'll see random posts about fitness, and then sometimes you'll see business stuff, and it's also free organic reach. Again, think of organic reach as free money, right? Free marketing dollars. And the more people see your service or product, the better for you, and you don't have to pay for it. Even though digital advertising you should be doing also, just not being on there at all is just a big mistake.
Yeah. Well, but by the way, just breaking news. If you saw it and you're one of my kids and you told me, breaking news, we don't listen to our kids. We'll be back in a few moments on that note. And we'll be back in a few moments after this commercial break. Welcome back to Financial Planning Explained, and I'm still here with Nick Linsander, and this is pretty fascinating stuff. I didn't know half about this as it pertained to other sources of media, particularly TikTok, and it's making me think this is something that I want to do with my business. But while we're on that, really want you to explain, what you do for businesses who are looking to get involved in trying to promote their business, advertise their business. What do you do for businesses? And I assume that's what you do. You work with businesses, right?
100%. typically small to medium-sized businesses, and a lot of the times I'll sit down with a business and they have no idea what they like. Everything's a jumbled mess in terms of messaging, branding, a lot of the creative aspects of things, and how that relates to where their goals are. So whether their actual tangible goals are, they want to double revenue next year, or whatever business goal that they have, it's about reverse engineering that to whatever they have on the table, and then putting everything in a line and seeing how we can take the pieces from that business in terms of messaging, their brand, whether their brand's really strong, their messaging is really strong, all those different pieces, and turning that into creative media for all the different platforms of today and all the different communication platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, podcasts, LinkedIn, TikTok, all those different platforms.
Interesting.
And taking the big branding and digital strategy piece is typically the first thing, and figuring out the strategy for all the different platforms, and making sure that your branding is strong, and understanding your goals down the line, whether it's really ambitious goals to grow the company or whatever those goals may be, and then taking that strategy that we put into place in terms of media spend, in terms of ads, whether you want to run digital ads, which again are the number one underrated thing. There is Facebook used to be cheaper than it is now. It's still a bargain. Same with Instagram, who's owned by Facebook. All these digital platforms. LinkedIn has a little bit higher of a floor cost in terms of digital ads, but its targeting is so on point. It is crazy. You can target literally specific people that you want to target with job titles and all those different things.
Interesting.
So understanding all those different facets and nuances of the platforms and communication styles of today, and putting that all into figuring out how that can help you reach your business goals from the start. And again, it starts with a conversation and sitting down and understanding those goals, and then seeing where everything's at today, and then developing a roadmap to head your way towards those goals.
How do you measure success? And let's say, for instance, you took my company and said, hey, we're going to advertise Menninger and Associates to a variety of different, whether you say advertising or, if you put it on LinkedIn and you put it on Facebook and you put it on TikTok, how do you determine if business is coming in the door, where it came from?
So it's difficult, and it depends on the strategy you take. So if you're doing a pure brand awareness play, then you won't see immediately the numbers that are going to correlate to dollars or effort that you put into certain platforms. There's a lot of tracking links and a lot of different ways you can track things on the internet, of course, and with these platforms, engagement analytics and website analytics, and being able to link through multiple steps and tracking them along the way of that. So there are some aspects that you can track, but at the end of the day, it's going to be about staying patient with your goal, and as long as you're on that roadmap to that business goal, whatever it may be, then trusting in the process of that, because you won't always see it happen overnight.
Well,
right?
no, and I'm aware
right.
of that.
And the numbers,
it's a long-term trade.
It's definitely a long-term trade, and it's providing value to audiences and people and connecting to people, and it's just at scale now. And it's just way more important for you to provide value to people, because you will see that return. And again, it depends on your goal, and it comes down to self-awareness and understanding where you're trying to take your business and what you're trying to do with it in the long term and the short term. And some things can be tracked, but some things can't, and it's just part of the game. It's how do you track conversions from a billboard in terms of brand awareness, not the number of people call a phone number, but what about all the people that have seen it? How do you track that? I mean,
that's exactly it.
Exactly, and it's a difficult question to answer, but again, if you you can see how many people see something, impressions, and there's a lot of numbers you can take, but it's really what do those mean, and then to the bottom line in terms of what your goal is. So
it's funny. I was dealing with a guy who has been in the TV industry, and he was talking to us about potentially advertising. He goes, he says, the one thing about advertising, he says 50% of it works. The problem is you don't know which 50% it is. And so if you do a little bit of everything, you're creating the brand awareness.
That's correct. And the entire reason why digital advertising works so well is because it's all a calculated guessing game. So you're basically A/B testing. A/B testing, for those watching, is running multiple different sets of slightly different creative or wording, running multiple different ads and seeing what does better. So you're running an A test and a B test. You do it through the platforms when you're running ads. So you pay for ads, whether
so you run this, and then you run a different one,
Correct.
and then run a different one, and this will tell you.
And you see what does best, and then you
Right.
double down on what does best.
Right, okay.
And then again, with content, and viral content specifically, if you have something that's really resonated with a lot of people and it's taken off, I would double, triple down on that and run ads based upon what your goals are with different audiences, demographics. Context is a big thing on these platforms because all the platforms are different. The people on the other end of the receiving end of the phone are different in most cases. So understanding the context of the platform is huge in terms of the creative, the wording, the messaging, who you're talking to, especially with ads. Creating bigger context in ads is huge. Talking to a very specific group of people makes you want to respond and engage with the ad more. Like if someone ran an ad toward Jets fans, and I'm personally a Jets fan, but
Why would you?
then
that's
a different conversation. But I would be,
giant question.
And that relates to me.
Wait, New York Jets?
New
You
York,
like planes that
New
fly
York,
fast?
New York Jets, New York Jets.
And you admit it. That's amazing. That's the amazing part.
And
Okay,
I
go.
admit it. But if someone is personalized to you and talking to you as a person, then I'm going to be much more. My engagement will probably be better than if it's not. Just end of story. And these platforms are all different.
So what type of ads do you help your clients develop? You help them develop ads? Are they like video commercials? Are they still ads? Kind of.
All the above. So that's the creative piece of it. So creative is definitely one of the biggest variables of ads. Now that connects back to the strategy. So what's the strategy of organic content, which again, organic is just posting without paying for it. Paid media, which in other words, an ad, when you're paying $10 a day for an ad to run to a certain subset of an audience, then I typically would recommend that you have some sort of organic content out before you start running ads. You could just run ads, but if someone goes to your pages and doesn't see you very active or engaging or talking to your community, then why should they? So engaging with your community is one of the biggest things, I would think. Responding to every comment, DMing people, collaborating. DMing, yeah, so direct messaging.
Okay.
It's the term nowadays.
All right.
On Instagram, it's a big thing.
Okay.
Collaborations are huge. Collaborating with your audience, providing value to another audience, and that's why you see a lot of influencers do things like that.
Okay.
To get exposure from multiple audiences and seeing what value you can bring to that. Some of that may be funny. Now the two main things are entertainment and education. So almost everything falls under those two buckets. Now, there's a lot of different facets under those, but you're either doing one or the other. You're making someone laugh or entertaining them in some way, shape, or form, or you're educating them in some way, shape, or form. So understanding, and again, reverse engineering what your goal is and your branding and all the different things your company stands for and values, and then deciding and developing creative strategies for the creative, whether it's videos. Videos do amazingly well. Sometimes it's pictures in different formats and different contexts, and then running tests, and it's an iterative process. That's just the nature of the game.
I have to imagine too, if people are running videos, that the quality of the video equipment that is being used is also very important. Otherwise, it looks cheap.
So typically, I would say yes, it is important, as long as it's not the excuse for you not to do it, because an excuse of you not to do it is worse than you just not doing it because you're saying that the quality's not good enough. So with smartphones and camera phones nowadays, their cameras are so advanced. You can shoot 4K video on an iPhone, and so typically some people will use that as an excuse to not do and not try because they may be scared of, number one, themselves being on video or talking or whatever. One of the biggest things I would say is lean into and have self-awareness for what you are best at, whether that's talking in audio format, podcasts, some YouTube, things like that, or video, like a show like this, when you're showcasing what you can do on video, and then written word too. It's super underrated for sure. The captions, descriptions, posts, blog posts, a lot of value can be found in written word, such as books and all that different things, just in digital formats. So I would lean into what your strength is, and if your strength isn't one thing or the other, then find something to complement your other end of it, either in your business or whether it's someone you hire or whatever it may be, because not everyone is great at everything. So,
right.
So lean into what you're best at.
Well, good. Well, that's a great conclusion. Our show's over already.
That was quick. Wow.
Do me a favor. You know what? It was very valuable, and I'm sure that a lot of businesses would benefit from this. The small and medium businesses that want to take the extra step. And I know that the amount of money that we spend is not as much as you'd think. So do me a favor. Look into the camera over there and tell people how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, so again, my name is Nick Lensander. The company, my media company, was originally called Lensander Media, but we're going under a rebranding ourselves, so it's Link Media, L-E-N-K Media. So you can shoot me an email, Nick, N-I-C-K, at link, lenk.media, or you can go to link, lenk.media, and check us out online. I know we have we've worked with a lot of different brands and companies, and I'd love to have a conversation.
Thank you very much. So if you look at financial planning, I work with a lot of business owners, and business owners are just an extension of their own financial needs. So the business is what generates the revenue and the income for them to achieve whatever their goals and objectives are. So here's an opportunity to utilize the services that Nick provides to be able to enhance the value, the revenue of your business to help you achieve your financial goals. And I'm going to conclude there. I thank you for viewing with us today and joining us today. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great week.